Hey everyone, welcome back to CryptoCache. Thank you so much for joining me here. Hope you're having a fantastic day. We're taking a look here at Mana, once more Decentraland, kind of just seeing what's going on and ultimately identifying if this recent push has any continuation potential. Okay, we're going to look at that and much more, of course. If you are new to the channel, not a financial advisor, love teaching people to trade. Hope you can learn something here today, of course. I do have a website where you can register to become a better trader. It's CryptoCache.tech, and I provide you trading community, a university to teach you everything that I know, and of course an amazing community here at your back, plus signals. Okay, so simply put, a lot of my members are benefiting greatly from communicating together and working together as a unit, and then also basing some of their trades off of my signals that I send out, because honestly, a lot of them are doing fairly well. 195% from Solana in 3 days. That we took profits on that a few days ago. You got to keep in mind too, though, the results don't happen overnight, but they do happen. 15 days, 83% from Ethereum. See, I can't complain about that. It's just extra money in our pocket. 32% from Ethereum there, and then what? Here's 50% from BNB again. 11 days, sure. Had to be patient on that one, but that's the market we're in right now. You got to be patient. You cannot get rich overnight, right? Another thing too we're doing is we're using BitGet as one of the best exchanges in the world. At least this is my favorite exchange. I used to use Bybit and KuCoin, and now I'm a BitGet fanboy. Mainly because they offer $10,000 prize pool to my community every month. So if you use the link down below to register, really simple, you'll be qualified for that. You will need a VPN, however, if you're in the States or wherever is restricted. It's 3 months of free subscription with a 12-month plan. Okay, so again, we got your back there. Thank you so much, Express, for allowing my members to have a much better trading experience. And thank you so much as well for BitGet. Now, here's the thing with Decentraland. There's a lot of little things we want to kind of look at. We're going to draw out some descending trends here, see if we've broken through that yet. It doesn't look like we have just yet. And we'll go ahead and talk about that here in a moment. We also want to draw out some new Fibonacci retracement levels, kind of get some larger time frames here to help understand what that might look like, and kind of go from there. So keep in mind, this most recent descending trend, we have broken above that. Okay, we're seeing that with other coins too, Sandbox, coincidentally as well, following a very similar suit here. In other words, we have this kind of tentative double bottom followed by a break through that descending trend. Okay, so this descending trend is essentially broken now. We have a larger time frame to worry about, of course. There's another descending trend, but between now and then, we got some room for growth, right? So that's kind of where we're at here. Good stuff in the overall sense of things, and bear in mind too, this level right here at about 38.75, so 38.75 cents, we're looking at a previous support level. Okay, that was a previous level, if I recall correctly. It was a support back in the summer of 21, then of course a resistance in early 21 when just before Mana broke out for the first time. Okay, so again, pretty good stuff there in that sense. But generally speaking here, overall, what we're looking at is a positive sentiment. But we got to recognize too, this series of numbers here, albeit overextended to the downside multiple times, that still doesn't necessarily mean it's going to ramp right back, right? But it does tell us that we're 6 days into this continuation. So hypothetically, we have another 3 more trading days before the price action starts to retrace. Okay. Again, there's no guarantees in that, but oftentimes when you hit a 9, there's something that either occurs where this price goes sideways or it continues in that same direction. So keep in mind right now, we're at a 6. So 3 more days from now, we could very well hit that plateau. We'll need to consolidate, and then we could see another leg out from there. We could also see the price come back down. Don't get wrong, that absolutely can happen. But what it'll probably do is bounce off a previous resistance level. So as you can see here, this Fibonacci retracement level at 0.382, 33.65 cents, that is effectively a level in which the price action comes up, got rejected, and just barely broke through. You can see it retested that area, that range, a few days before it broke through here today. Okay, so that's a very positive sign. That kind of shows us that should be a new support level. So I'd just say a round number of 34 cents to 33 cents. That little range will absolutely be a support level when the price comes back down, if it were to. Okay, just keep that in mind. All right, now one positive thing here, and this doesn't reflect on other coins, is that we're up over 50 on the RSI. That's really uncommon right now in the market. So it's fantastic to see. That also tells us here that we have continuation to the upside where the convergence is still converging. So we're still gaining that momentum. Once again, though, keep in mind, we have some room to grow here, of course. So we got this little range here where we could increase. But just note that if we hit 70 on the RSI or if we hit 9 on TD sequential, there's a greater chance for a pullback. Okay, so we're getting closer to that range, but we're not there yet. Now, here's the thing that's really cool about this. This is a very healthy continuation, though, if you take a look at this. Up, over, up, over, up, over. right? So that's a pretty consistent pattern that I love to see in trading. It tells us that we're in pretty good shape. You do got to recognize too, though, however, in the most recent past here, this little shift upwards here, this strong push that broke through that resistance level, albeit probably a short squeeze with some hedged longs right there. We have, of course, a 7 here. So what that basically is telling us is that we are roughly, what, 1.5 days into this continuation, and it should only last a total of 3 days. And actually, I misspoke. It's not 1.5 days. It'd be more like 2 days into a 3-day pattern. Again, kind of the whole, three white soldiers pattern, if you will, where you have 3 specific candlesticks in a row followed by a red day. This kind of follows suit in that sense. So if we see this here, we're up to a 7. We're somewhere in the range of 1 day at this point of push, where we could see another 2 or 3. Okay, so again, that kind of fulfills that full 9 on the TD sequential on the daily, right? Either way, some big picture stuff, just kind of thinking about. But regardless of that fact, we're slightly overextended here, and it would make sense to see a pullback to 0.382. That 33.6 or 33.5 cents would be a round number there for you. If we take a look at the MACD, we can see we are converging here, but obviously it's losing a little momentum, and that could very well taper off and have the price action come direction down. We also are up over 70 on the RSI. While it can work as a support level, sometimes it doesn't last very long in bear markets like we're seeing right now. So I would speculate that we're more likely to see the price pull back again to 33.5 versus breaking through the current resistance level. It can still happen, don't get wrong, but the likelihood is less, right? So again, when we're looking at these technical indicators, we're really just building a case in either direction, right? Is it going to go up? Is it going to go down? What's the probability of either? And the probability is higher in whichever direction you choose, you're going to be more successful. That's effectively what we're looking at. Again, greed is a very real thing. That's why TD sequential is very helpful to tell you that that continuation can only last for so long, because they're going to want to take their profits, whomever's inflating the price. So taking a look at the 1 hour, let's take a quick peek at TD sequential here. We can see we are extremely overextended in this time frame. It really should have retraced and came back down from that 9, but instead it continued higher, likely pushed as a short squeeze where we see an increased amount of volume. And of course, the price action comes up here to plateau at this resistance. So it's kind of working its way through very realistic patterns here. And at this point, what this basically just means is that yes, we're overextended to the side here, and the pullback to the side makes sense. It would also make further sense if the price comes back down lower, but just keep in mind, in order for it to go up, it has to go sideways for some time. If it goes up now, it's just going to die off and come back down hard. So we want to build a strong foundation of volume to build on, right? That's kind of how you build a good structure, is you have a sturdy foundation. We don't have a sturdy foundation yet. We just barely got a reset. We only had 6 hours of consolidation on the downside. It would make more sense if the price were to pull back a little further. So to me, in situations like this, and again, I talk about this a lot, and I communicate this to my community members as well. They're very familiar with it. With my signals, when I send out a signal in a bear market right now, the likelihood of the price going down is when it's greater, but it also has potential to go up. You take entry at this level, and then you have a second entry target down below. Okay, you average your price essentially down, because just say it comes down to bounce off this level, you get an average price right in the middle instead of being stuck at a high price or not getting in at the lower price. So to me, that just works out favorably in a lot of ways. So I'd consider, if I were you, multiple entry targets in this market. It just works a lot better. But here's the thing with the cloud, though. We are free and clear of price action for now. So again, if the cloud, or just more importantly, if the price were to come up like this, for example, we would allow that to miss the price action completely and continue that movement, right? So if we do have the price jumping up soon here, that would be a recipe for the price continuing higher as a potential, right? But once again, depending on what happens here, will tell us that. The long story short here is if the price spends a little bit more time here and comes down, or comes down first, this lagging spend is going to intersect with the price action no matter what in the next 8 to 12 hours. Basically telling us that you might want to consider trimming your position. That's essentially what this does. It gives us a conservative indication of what to do next. So that's kind of what we're looking at here. If you were to have a position open right now for Mana, it wouldn't be terrible to go ahead and take some profits and then to let the rest ride. That's essentially what I like to do. I take 65 to 80% my first target and then let the rest kind of continue depending on how many targets I have set. That being said, though, that's essentially what we're looking at there. No big deal. We still have good momentum here, essentially, with the lagging span being below the conversion line there. And of course, if we take a look at this here, we can see obviously that the price action bounces off here as well as a strong potential. So what we're hoping for is the price to come down and to ride the cloud on its way up. Okay. So generally speaking, more reasons to take a long position than a short position, but as per usual, I just recommend waiting for a better entry. It's overextended on the shorter and medium time frames and would make sense we see a slight pullback. If it does pull back a little bit, further upside is much more potential or probable moving forward. Okay, that's what we're looking at there. All right, so hopefully that made sense to you. And we'll go ahead and cover this again here soon. Thanks again to my community members who requested this, of course. And I look forward to obviously working with you if you are not a community member and you want to consider joining. Rates are adjusting later this month with our new website with all the new features coming. So maybe consider locking in your rate. We have a lot of members coming back doing so themselves. So thanks again for joining me here. We'll look forward to seeing you in the next one. You take care.